Hi everyone and welcome at Academy of Shred. It's Emanuel here tonight from Bremen, Germany. I have a coffee prepared and a couple of very cool videos. I have a very cool setup for you guys tonight. So, you can tell that I'm excited, can't you? Good evening everyone from all over the world. I hope you guys are doing great. I am certainly doing great today because it was such an exciting time to get to prepare this episode and to get where we are right now. So today, it's my great pleasure to show you what I may call the ultimate AMP1 rig. So let me show how it looks. It looks like this. So I'm having my second cam prepared for you here, and it's actually, movable, so we can get into great detail and have a look at everything on here. So this is a stereo AMP1 rig with a Mercury, with the Iridium. Both are on and running, and I can switch between those whenever I feel like. Let me put the camera back for the second, right, for you to see what's going on here. And this is going to be the main topic of today, right? So you guys know, if you have watched the stream before, you know that I'm playing in bands. I've been a touring guitar player for the best part of 10 years. And I love playing analog amps, as you can see. I have a couple of amps here. But, this is a topic. Analog versus digital amps is a topic I've addressed with lots of my guests, right? So certainly something that we are going to look at very often when I'm online. And, part why many people play digital rigs is basically it's the usability. It's super comfortable to use. We know that the AMP1 is a very lightweight device. It's very small. And, it was my big pleasure to put together a rig which you can just, use like plug and play. You put this on the stage, you're going directly into the mixing desk of the sound engineer, and then you can play, and then you have full analog grade tones on your board, and it's super easy to use. So you could use it without cabinet and everything. So we will be talking about this. I had a guest for this episode today, whose name is Lee Atkin from Rockboard. So Rockboard is a company from Germany, right? Rockboard by Warwick, a very cool company, and we are working together with so many companies. Thomas knows everyone. You may have seen the guide through the Guitar Summit, right? Where I was filming Thomas, where he went basically to every booth. And it's like this guy, he knows everyone in the industry, and he's worked with everyone. He's test drive products of everyone. And I thought, why wouldn't we get a similar vibe into the live stream? So we've paired up with Rockboard for today's episode. They do create these amazing pedal boards, and we will show you how you can create an ultimate AMP1 gigging rig. Not a rigging gig, but a gigging rig. Alright, currently I am on the Mercury. I keep saying that I really like the Mercury as well. Everyone thinks that I'm a purist when it comes to the Iridium. I love the Iridium and I love the Mercury, and this is how it sounds right now. Here we go. Definitely tell that it's so much fun to play this amplifier, to play this rig, right? This is my trustworthy Ibanez AZ. It recently got an update. Pickups, Hammer and Anvil by Klopman Electrics. You guys know that also Thomas plays Klopman pickups, right? So perfect fit for this guitar. The guitar was great before. It's my favorite guitar, and I was even scared of changing the pickups, not because I don't like them, but because never change a running system. But it was certainly worth it. So there's the guitar for tonight. You've seen the rig that I was showing you. The amp that you were hearing was the Amp1 Mercury edition, and it was going straight into an IR, an impulse response, a digital cab for those who don't know. So really no effects, nothing, and this is why I love this device. I mean, it sounds like a full-blown metal amp. It's supposed to be the vintage amp, and this is what Thomas uses it for all the time, but if you really drive it, then you can get some great high gain tones out of it. All right, anyway, I'll be seeing you again very soon, but for right now, we'll switch to the interview, which I did with Lee Atkin from Rockboards, right? Who I've mentioned a second ago. So I split the interview in 3 parts, and we also have a couple of other cool videos to show tonight. So let's get into this. Let's learn a little bit about this rig, about Rockboards, and about how you can, design the ultimate gigging rig with the Amp1 on a pedal board. See you in a second, and here we go. This is Emanuel from BluGuitar, and it's time to shred again. It's this day of the month, Academy of Shred. Today I'm not alone. I'm in good company. I'm super proud and happy to introduce a good friend of mine, Lee Atkin from Rockboards. Hey Lee, how's it going?
Hi everyone. Yeah, it's going well, man. I tell you what, sitting here one-to-one like this with you shredding on your guitar, that takes me back, man. It really does.
Feels like the old days, doesn't it?
It really does, man.
Lee and I, we have a background story. We used to work for a company called Tonepedia, which was an amazing company, wasn't it?
It really was, man. It really was. It was really exciting times.
And, something I don't want to miss. Tonepedia was making interactive demos for music gear, and I think it still is online, isn't it?
Yeah, you can still go there. It's still upline. Still online, I should say. And you can go on there and see all the magic that we did.
Yeah, well, these were the old days, and now we're in the. Doesn't make sense in the new days. I don't know, but we're here, 21st of October, 2025, and right now I'm here for BluGuitar, and you are here for Rockboard, aren't you? So, yeah. Lee, you don't see it, but I have a second camera here filming my Pedalboard, which happens to be one of the products that Rockboard is manufacturing. So this is a Quad 4.4, isn't it?
Yes, I think it is. Exactly the same one as I've got here. Hang on a minute. Have you got the 4x4? How many mod slots have you got? Yes, you do. You got exactly the same one as this.
Exactly. I have 2 mod slots, both packed with great mods. This is how it looks, yeah, when it's not packed with pedals and stuff. So mine is packed and set up with 2 Amp1s, which is kind of the topic of today. Because Lee, you've been knowing me for a couple of years, and you know that by the time when we got to know each other, I was into digital stuff, mostly digital amplifiers, software based everything, because it was just very easy at the time. And working at Tonepedia, the company we've been talking about a minute, got me back into analog gear because it was just so inspiring to get to test all the different, guitars and mainly pedals and amplifiers, and there was something special about it, really. So I was looking for a way to being able to take this analog feel with me on the road when I'm touring, when I'm doing studio sessions, and most of the stuff was quite big and heavy. So shortly after this, I discovered BluGuitar, and BluGuitar is I'm talking about BluGuitar every month. I'm doing this live stream every month, so everyone knows that I really love these amplifiers, and that this, kind of my go-to device when I'm here in the studio and playing live. However, it is still an analog amplifier, right, which has ups and downs. I thought, how could I make my BluGuitar AMP1 as comfortable in use as a digital amplifier? And this is where Rockboard came in pretty handy. So today we're showing you how to create a rig with your AMP1 that, in terms of comfort in use, is on the same level as a digital amplifier. Lee, I have two mods in my pedalboard right now. Mod 4 and Mod 5, I think they were called.
Let's slip back a little bit there and let's explain what a mod is. So on a normal pedal board, you will put everything together, like your pedals, so on and so forth, and then you'll run from them out into your amp, and then from your amp to your cab, and then magic happens, and microphones. But with
magic and microphone sounds like a great name for a podcast. We should think about it.
I mean, the Rockboard pedalboards work in the same sort of idea as the BluGuitar amps, as the AMP1. So it's about having as much on the floor as possible to reduce the overall size of your rig. So what we've done in order to produce this is we've put slots into the pedalboards, which look like this. And you can see this one, I've taken the white cover off, and this one's got the white cover on. The white cover is just to make them as handholds, so when you don't have a mod in it, you can pick your board up easy. But when you do put a mod in it, which is something that looks like this, these just slot in, and they all do different things. So you've got patch bays and so on and so forth. And what have you got on yours? You've got the Mod 5, which is the cab sim, and you've got the Mod 4, which is the wireless transmitter.
100%, exactly. Right, and yeah, there are multiple mods available, and all of them have different functions. There are simpler ones. There are like slightly more sophisticated ones with like IR loaders and stuff. And I went for Mod 4 and for Mod 5, and this brings me back to what I've started to talk about in the beginning. I wanted to create a rig where really I wouldn't be dependent on anything but my AMP1 on a board, right? And as I said before, it's a very lightweight device. It does have some features which are modern and remind you of a digital amp, but it's an analog amplifier. So I would be dependent on my cabinet, on cables, and everything, and on stuff like this, that you need to carry with you when you're touring with an analog amplifier. However, with the Mod 4, right, I don't, I can basically, play any stage without being dependent on cables on my own wireless system, because it's integrated in the mod. So it's a patch bay with an integrated wireless system, and this is such a great thing, because really I hate carrying wireless systems with me. Usually these are big devices which are in the racks behind the stage, and always troubleshooting when something's not working during the gig. You have to go there and do stuff and whatever. This is integrated into my board, so there's very little distance between the amplifier and the wireless system. So if anything everything happens, I can just pull it out, go into the amp with a cable. I don't need to go behind the stage. I don't need a guitar tech to fix stuff, whatever. It's just basically 2 centimeters away from the amplifier, which is what I very much like about this.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice because you can power it from your the same power brick you're powering the rest of the pedals from, which is nice. And it's also got, I think you've got 4 different ins and outs on there as well. So you can run the transmitter. It doesn't have to run to an in, because the transmitter runs directly to the overall mod, which is the receiver. But then you can run, say you wanted to have an expression pedal, and you wanted to be able to plug that in and out easily. You can have that running into these, because they're all TRS jacks, so you can run them into that. You can also run power out of your power brick into a barrel patch bay. So you've got barrel in, barrel out, so you can power your wah if you wanted to have a wah pedal off there or something along those lines. Yeah, which you do. So it's very clever. and it's got a through for an IEC as well. It does the job pretty well. And it also has the USB charge out as well on that, doesn't it?
It does. It has so many functions. And that's really something amazing. This is what I'm looking for in a rig. I want to have devices that, have many functions and that basically replace other devices that you would need to bring with you, in case you hadn't such a mod. So it's wireless system. It has several power outs. It has the patch bay. Let's quickly explain what a patch bay is, right? For those who may not know about this, because I didn't know patch bays in Pedalboards existed. To be honest, I know patch bays from the studio, right? And like in every recording studio, there's something a patch bay.
And I call you my friend.
You know that until recently, I wasn't too much into pedalboards. This is really a topic that I've rediscovered right now, because this is really challenging. Bringing your amp live with you on tour and everything, and having everything set up. And this is something I started to work with after COVID. Really, like before COVID, I was all digital, and then COVID happened, Tom Peter happened, I went analog, and this is when I started to work on pedalboards. So I'm not as deep in this topic as you are, but yeah, patch bay. So the patch bay is a device that allows you to. It functions basically like a central point where you can patch certain. We can do routing, right? So kind of the same thing it would do in your DAW for the younger viewers, right? But in analog. So you have inputs, you have outputs, and let's say that you have an effects device, right? And you want to route it to a certain guitar. Maybe you're recording, and have a couple of guitar amplifiers running en route to a patch bay. So you don't need to directly go from the effects device to the amplifier, but you just go to the patch bay and can switch pretty quickly. This is how I would describe a patch bay.
Yeah, I'll have a bash on that as well. So if you think about setting up your rig for a gig, you will get there, you'll plug your guitar into pedal number 1, and you'll plug out of pedal number whatever, your last one in the chain, and you'll run that out to your amp, generally speaking. Now, every time you plug into a pedal moves a little bit, and over a period of time that's going to move more and more and more, and then before you know it, the pedals are like all skew with and stuff like that. Now, if you've got more things to be plugging in and out, like the aforementioned expression pedal, or you've got four cable method, so you're running into one pedal and then out of like the third pedal to the effects loop, back from the effects loop into that next pedal, and then out from the last one over. You've got a lot of messing around, a lot of plugging in, plugging out, and then you can add expression pedals and wires and everything on top of it. So this can be frustrating. You've got to, especially when you've got your really nice neat board, and then you have to move things to get the jacks in and out, and it can be an absolute pain in the bum. What you're doing with a patch bay effectively is you're moving all of those jacks that would be the input of the first pedal and the output of the last one, the input of the expression, the loop ones, and you're putting them all into one place. So you run cables from your pedals down into the patch bay, and then that stays fixed. And then on the other side, which is held onto the pedal board with our Rockboards, that stays very firm, and when you plug in and out, there's no moving the power cables around. You're not gonna mess up your rig, and you're not gonna get there and have a problem and like go to play and you're like, oh, hang on a minute, I've got no sound, because that's what happens when you're constantly moving your pedals around. That's the sort of thing, we've all faced it, and it's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Something we must ask ourselves, in case you're not too much into pedal boards, like, where is the difference if I need to get from my pedal to the patch bay? Why wouldn't I just, why couldn't I just plug it into the next pedal? And the thing that makes it quite easy is there are like empty spaces everywhere across the board. So with your patch cables, right, you can just go into these spaces and then go to the patch bay from there. And there's no such a thing like input and output, right? It's just going through in the patch bay. So you can plug it from the back, from the front. Doesn't really matter. It's just quite easy to use.
Yeah, I mean, think of the common one where you've got to power your board. So you've got to plug into your PSU. So you have to pick the board up, go in, plug it in, make sure your power cable isn't running in line with your signal cable, so you don't get any silly sound effects and so on and so forth. And then you're good to go. But while you're picking the board up, oh look, a pedal just fell off because it wasn't on securely enough. I mean, with the patch bays, you run an XLR, because we sell these short, not XLR, sorry, IECs. So you can run an IEC from the PSU to the patch bay, and then all you're doing is plug in your IEC into that, and that's all secure, that's all done. There's no picking the board up at funny angles or anything like that. All of these things, like if you think about all the different angles that all the different cables are coming into your board, from the amp and from this and from that and from the guitar and so on and so forth, they're now all put into one little neat space. So it is kind of like one of those things that is really good for it, especially if you've got OCD, which many of us musicians do. So it's nice.
Certainly it is nice. I really, like, first time for me working with the patch, I really enjoyed it. Did make my life easier in some cases. For example, like getting to the effects loop and stuff. I have a stereo rig here with my AMP1 Iridium here as well. So I'm going to play that for a little and show what I did there. So
running out to stereo is a really good reason to have a run out to stereo cabs. A great reason to have a
patch bay.
Exactly.
So this is my AMP1 Iridium. It's a modern channel, and let me quietly slightly adjust the equalizer here because I was just moving and did some bad stuff to it. All right, so some bad stuff to it. All right, so I'm right now playing the AMP1 Iridium, and the AMP1 Iridium is going into the blue box. I'm using the Stack 1980 cab, and this is how it sounds. Right, so good old metal sound coming from the blue box.
I'm so used to you not playing for short periods of time, I was really thrown by that. I was like, oh, here he goes, he's off again.
So it wasn't too much about the playing, but what I want to show is I have the TC Electronic Dreamscape here, which is the John Petrucci signature pedal. John Petrucci being one of my favorite guitar players, right? So
is he?
Surprise. So I don't really like to have this one in front of the amp. It's a modulation pedal, and it feels very cool, like with the choruses and stuff when it's in the loop. And it can be a pain to get this to the loop. However, with the patch bay, I just went underneath the board in one of the whole empty spaces, went to the patch bay, and then from the patch bay I went to the send and return channel. So it's in the effects loop, and this is how it does sound. Here it's coming. So let's say the effects level is quite high. So let me turn that a little bit down. It's only chorus, no amp.
Well, I liked it. I liked it when it was wet. It reminds me of my CE2. I've got an original CE2, and it sounded not far off it. I'm quite surprised. I've not played one of these. Do you know who else does a nice C2 sounding chorus like that? And you'll like this because I know you like them. So yeah, just happen to have that next to me. Jam. So this is two pedals in one. This is their phaser and their chorus, and the chorus on this is very good. You'd like it. You like jam pedals.
I like to have on neat sounds. I usually when I'm practicing or when I'm just playing here, but I tend to put some very subtle chorus onto lead sounds. But where I really like lead sound, like choruses, is if I was playing like, you know, like big chords, rhythm guitar kind of stuff. Let me change the cabinet here to this one. As this kind of the metal 80s, so this reminds more of like an oversized mezzo cab. And if I now put back some of the effects level again, we have this big. And you know, this is really like the like 90s Dream Theater vibe. You know, this kind of stuff.
Do like a double stop bend, like where you just bend one of the notes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you know, so can sound on leads. I would pull it back a little bit, right? Because I think it's kind of a little bit too much. But you know, like for this 90s Dream Theater kind of sound, yeah.
What you can do is something you never do, is back the volume off a little bit, and then the chorus will sing even nicer.
Always makes you play some stuff I don't want to play. I want to play the hard and heavy stuff. So let's put on some boost here. Get the effects level back a little bit, and let's do some more shred with this setup before we go to the other amp. So that is really fun. All right, enough of that. That was the Iridium Blue Box. Enough of that. That's what I said last in the interview, but I think we're just getting started, aren't we? So right now, I have kind of the very same rig as I was showing you a second ago in the interview. So we're going to my second cam again, which is very close to the Mercury. But right now, I switched amps, and I am actually using my Iridium. So that's the AMP1 Iridium, the amp that I use most of the time when I'm doing these live streams for you. And as you can see, there are a couple of pedals here. So you certainly know this one down here on the right. This is the blue box. And this is what I'm plugged into. Actually, I'm going out of one of the speaker outputs on the amp, and it's going straight into the blue box. We don't need you know, a power attenuator or something, right? This is perfectly fine. And then the blue box is connected to my computer's interface. All right. So Iridium Blue Box, we had this set up on the stream before. Thomas does it, I do it. Everyone knows how that sounds. However, there's a special guest on my board today, which is the TC Electronic Dreamscape. It's a pedal by TC Electronic, a company that everyone may know, and it's John Petrucci's signature pickup. I was saying pedal. John Petrucci is one of my favorite guitar players of all time, and that's why, you know, I had to buy this. I don't own a whole lot of pedals. I not even 20, I think, which is very little compared to some of the guys that I know. But this is one of those which I own because, you know, it's just a little fanboy, being here of the guy who was involved in creating this pedal, and also it has different modulation effects. So it has flanger, phaser, chorus. We can go through these in a second. And this pedal goes into the effects loop of the AMP1. So this is what I wanted to show you, right? The AMP1 has an effects loop. You have return and send jacks on the back of the amplifier, and it works very, very well with modulation effects like this. So, I mean, I know we have an amazing community with very experienced people here, but for those who are beginners, let me quickly explain. You can use pedals in front of the amp. So what you would do then is basically, instead of going with the guitar into the amp directly, you'd put pedals in front of them, and if you have more than one pedal, you'd connect them. And this is exactly what I did here on the Mercury, right? So I'm going into the tuner with the guitar, this cable here is going into the tuner, and then from the tuner it's going to the wah, then into the Tube Dreamer by Jam, which is, you know, an amazing Tube Screamer style pedal, then into the rumble seat, and then into the amp, right? So guitar, pedals, amp input, that's it. And then there's nothing in the FX loop. You see a cable connected to the return, a jack, but this is going to my computer. So I'm using this as kind of a record out, because you cannot deactivate the internal impulse response on the AMP1 Mercury. But that is, you know, how you would use pedals in front. And then the second thing is to not use them in front, but to use them in the FX loop, which is a feature that amazing amps like the AMP1 have. So it's not going it's basically, you know, going straight into the. And I know that Thomas is watching, so I gotta watch out what I'm saying here. But you know, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. So it's the difference is that it's the effects loop has no connection with the power amp of the amplifier, right? So it's basically going directly into the preamp, and this makes things sound slightly different. So there are a couple of effects like delay and reverb, which usually, you know, and modulation effects, which usually I like to have in the effects loop, because it just feels better and feels cleaner rather than having them in front of the amp where it will react with everything in the chain. I mean, the rumble seat has reverb and delay as well. It's just saying that, you know, I prefer those in the effects loop, and it's not here, but it's part of the drive channel, so it reacts very, very cool here, and this is why I like it here. Now, anyway, Dreamscape in the effects loop, and I want to show you how it sounds. So let me switch back to my actual main camera, and let me put my second camera to the side for a little moment. And let me play the guitar here. So AMP1, Iridium edition, modern channel, you know, settings like you're used to from me. So bass, treble, somewhere in the middle, and then slightly reduced on the mids. Oops, dropping the pick here. And then this is going into the blue box, and then the TC Electronics pedal in effects. So here we go. This is how it sounds. Right, so, you know, this is such an. I was talking about this in the interview, right? This is kind of how when I'm playing a sound like this, I'm thinking about like 90s Dream Theater, like images and words and things like this, you know. And the chorus in the effects loop, it really makes things feel very, very big. So let's get rid of the chorus for a second. You know, still, it's massive sounding. Right, just these chords, you know, they're really giving you. good amount of compression in the modern channel, it just makes this wall of sound, you know, just staying there and pushing and pushing and pushing and not giving in. But when I have the chorus on, right, then it starts to get a little, you know, slightly more. It feels like flying in a way, you know. It's like it has this kind of 80s, you know, very playful vibe to it, and makes it sound even bigger, maybe less pushing, but bigger and wider. This is I really love playing this sound. I can't tell you how good it feels to just be pushing these chords. You know, you know me, right? So if you've watched some of my streams before, all I do. This is how I like to play. But when I have a tone like this, I just want to play some big chords with like open strings. You know. Oh, sorry. I should play them correctly. And I mean, a thing I want to mention is I'm right now on the modern channel, but we can go to the vintage channel, and I can reduce the gain a little bit. The boost wasn't on, by the way, so I'm backing down the gain to like 4, and I have a single coil split here on the guitar, right? So this is, as I said, Andreas's pickups, and these were designed to be actually sounding good when split it. So. Let me turn on the reverb of the AMP1 as well. This is really something that I like. It's like slightly distorted sound, and then it has this very cool, you know, flying chorus effect on there, and it just feels great to play this, right? This is the stuff that keeps you off practicing. You know, as I said in the beginning, I started getting back into analog gear a couple of years ago when COVID was going on, because I was working for a company called Tonepedia. You've heard it all in the interview, right? So I got in touch with analog gear, and this is where eventually I was also, you know, playing more amps. I was a full digital guy before that. I'm 28, so basically my first amplifiers were, you know, were kind of at least partially digital. The first real tube amp that I had was a Blackstar HT5. It was, right? Well, anyway, I'm kind of happy that things happen to be the way that they turn out, because all this passion for analog gear, you know, that I've experienced working with people like Andreas Kloppmann, like Allard from Tonepedia back then, and nowadays with Thomas Blug, it's so exciting, and it's so much fun, right? Celebrating gear, trying things out. It just keeps me off practicing. Because I just want to play some simple chords and let the sound take over. If you have such a great amplifier like the AMP1, then, you know, it's very easy to get lost in this. And if you have a couple of cool effects pedals as well, and a board like the Rockboard Quad 4.4, which I have here right now, right? It just makes things so easy, and you can take you can just take this playfulness, this passion, this thing that you would do in your bedroom for hours. You can take it on the road with you, and this is the best thing on earth for me. All right, let's get back to the topic. So that was the vintage channel with the chorus, and we have a flanger here as well. I mostly use the chorus, to be honest, but let's try some of the other effects, right, just to hear how it sounds. It's the flanger. Let's go for the more high gain again. And let's turn up the effects level. There we go. This is very cool. Let's put back. No, let's back it off a little and let's see if we. Right, so this is the kind of sound I would. Let's give some of the effects level back. This is the kind of sound if I was having like a big ass riff. Let's do this, man. We have time tonight, don't we? So I'm gonna change the 7-string for a little bit, and then we play a little bit of this, man, because I just got in the mood. I want to play some huge riffs. So we have the studio here, right? Why don't we use it? So here is my 7-string, which is basically a very, very similar guitar. It's an Emanuel AZ. It still has the stock pickup. So these are Hyperions, I think they're called. They're far from bad. So great pickups, really love them. But the Klopman pickups, they just, wow. I mean, it's out of this world. Okay, let's get it tuned and then let's have the same sound. See how it's with the 7-string guitar. Right, this is kind of the sound I'd have in an intro. If you now imagine a metal song and then just having this kind of sound in the intro, and then when it kicks off, the flanger is going off. There's another flanger kind of sound. Yeah, this is what I was looking for. So imagine, the drums kicking in once I take off the effect. So let's go. So this is kind of stuff that uses kind of effect for. Great. All right, we're here with the 7-string, so let's play a little bit of 7-string. By the way, I got all the strings back. I had the E string off last time I was using the 7-string on the stream. So this was the blue box, but I wouldn't be Emanuel if I hadn't prepared something else as well. So this is how the AMP1 Iridium sounds with an impulse response of an EVH 4x12 style cabinet. Here we go. So right now we're not experiencing much of the pedal board, so this is really just the amp, and it's going to my computer, and there's nothing, but really nothing in between it. I'm not getting out of this today. So this is such a great tone. I'm really hoping it's coming across in the stream, but here in the studio it sounds massive. I want to do this all day, but let's play something a little more Oh man. Right, so massive sounds here in the studio. Such a pleasure and joy to play this. All right, let's test drive one more effect on the pedal. So we have something like a vibe effect. So I guess the 7th string is not what we need for this. So I'm switching back to a 6-string guitar, perhaps to the guitar which I just had a minute before, because as I told you, this got an upgraded in pickups, and those pickups, they are really cool and work good with split coil sounds. Right, so this is the clean channel. Let's increase the volume a little bit. So turn on the reverb of the amp. Too much speed. So let's get this off. Right, so Thomas sometimes is putting out some shred licks out of nowhere, and sometimes, you know, I may pull out a little bit of Hendrix as well. It's great fun if you have inspiring tones like these. Yeah, clean channel of the AMP1 Iridium, but let's go to the vintage channel. This is what I had in mind. You know, some low gain kind of tone. So I got the mids back again. I show you the settings in a second. We need some more bass, don't we? But this is not a problem because we have some. So yeah, I mean, I can't play proper Hendrix, so everyone's watching me fail. I just literally, and this is what it's all about. I just forgot that I was live streaming. I forgot that people would be watching me. I forgot that I need to play stuff which I feel comfortable with. This is not the type of music I play on a daily basis, right? This is me being 14 trying out something. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? Right? Just playing the stuff and just losing yourself in it and just making music. Wow, this is a great evening, guys. All right, yeah. I push in some more mids. I'm getting rid of some of the heights. proper vintage sound, isn't it? I'm far off playing like Hendrix, but I'd like to do so because this tone is so great. It's so much fun. All right, guys, this stream is not about me trying to pretend someone I'm not, but this stream is about creating the ultimate pedalboard rig with the AMP1. And let's switch back to the second camera. I know it's not great in quality as the first one, but it just functions well to show you some stuff. So again, what I just did, same amp, same pedals as I explained before. The only difference is you see this cable here, which is just the speaker output, connect to the speaker output of the amp. This goes into my computer, which is here, right? And then I'm having some software impulse response on it. Yeah, it's very, very much fun to have this opportunity as well. So I can run the blue box, and I can run another impulse response from some piece of software at the same time, right? Which is very cool, and there's something in there for everyone. So the blue box is great if it's so reliable. It can clean up some hum as well because it has a ground lift function, right? So when you're in any kind of venue where you get electricity problems, I do have some at home. I'll talk about it later, but it will clean things up for you. It has only hand-picked impulse responses by Thomas, so you know that all of these are going to sound good because some of the best ears for guitar tone in the world have picked those. There are a few there that work for metal. It's not designed to be a perfect fit for metal, but there are two, a metal V30 and then a metal GL80 preset is on there, and some of the stacks work quite well for metal as well. So it's certainly usable, and it's super reliable. You just put in the cable, and that's it. So perfectly fine for everyone who's gigging and who just wants to have quick and reliable tones. Now, the AMP1, as I said before, you don't need a power attenuator, right? So what I did as well is, I went into my computer and I have a custom IR there because I just like working with IR so much. So if you're that kind of person who doesn't want to have like quick and functioning tones, but who wants to put hours and hours into equalizing and shaping impulse responses and trying different ones and whatever, right? You can certainly do so as well. And that is what we just heard. The settings I had here for this, poor Hendrix impression was based on 7, so it's right. This amp is a little tighter than the Mercury, so if I want to go into more vintagey tones, then I tend to push the bass. I tend to push the bass up. Then we got 6 on middle and 4 on treble, because also some high frequencies are added by the pedal, right? These shiny effects, they usually add some heights, and that was really a All right, so let's get back to me. Here I am. Here we go. Hi, everyone. It's time for me to take a quick look at the comments section, right? Because I see that you guys are writing stuff, and I was so into doing this that I forgot to take a look there. So in case there are a couple of questions, let's try to get those answered. Wow, you guys are amazing. Any idea when more of the blue boxes will be available? I can't tell you that. Perhaps Thomas can, but certainly someone from the office can. Best would be if you write an email to the office. You'll find the email addresses on the website of BluGuitar, and then you'll certainly get answered. Right? Don't want to tell you some untruth here. Okay, many cool people here from all over the world, from Santa Cruz, from Poland, a couple of guys from Germany. Someone was asking if my name was Thomas. Well, my name is not Thomas. I work very close with Thomas, and some of you know, some little Thomasish things start to happen with me, like playing hand rigs with an analog amp and pedalboard. But no, I'm definitely not Thomas. All right. What else do we got? People are writing cool stuff, saying hello, appreciating what we're doing here. Let's go. Well, Petrucci AMP1 signature amp. I mean, that would be. I mean, wow, that would be amazing. I know he's been with Mesa Boogie and for decades, right? And I once had the chance to play a signature amplifier, and I mean, it's a 5,000 Mesa Boogie 2C Plus signature amplifier, so it's an amazing sounding amp. But this is something very different from what we are doing. I guess that Thomas would be down to do one if he was asking for it. But as much as I would want this to be happening, guess we cannot do this. But we have like I'm John Petrucci. The Wish version, like the Temu version of John Petrucci, is sitting here, right? I'm trying to have the same kind of beer and I'm trying to shred. So I'm gonna be your John Petrucci impersonation once a month in the Academy of Shred if you want. All right, let's go for the other comments. Yeah, someone's telling that the AMP1 sounds great with a DIY screen box. I really love DIY pedals. You know, I'm always telling people that I was the digital guy before I came to BluGuitar. But well, that's half of the story. I built this DIY pedal. Well, on the right side there's TS808 circuit, and then we have this boost, like just something like a gain boost or treble boost. I don't really remember it. I was building this with a friend. Well, actually my friend was doing most of the work when I was like 15 or so. It's not working anymore, unfortunately, but you know, I like to have this in my studio because it just some great memories. Dude's called Raphael. He's still around the same town. Unfortunately, we don't meet anymore, but this is what happens when you grow up sometimes, right? All right. Do we have more questions? I love the Behringer vibrato. It's so cheap and such a great pedal. I think this one is not expensive as well. It's like $100 around this, which is a mid-price pedal, I'd say. But certainly, you know, some of the Behringer stuff is great, especially when it comes to price-performance ratio. Okay, some philosophy about Judas Priest tones changing and taste and tones changing. That's cool. All right, that looks good. So, guys, please let them come. I'm here to answer anything. You can just, you know, say hello. You can ask questions, even if I don't know the answer. I forward it or let you know where you can find those. Where you can find those answers or people who know them, right? So whatever you wanna tell us, please don't be shy, don't hesitate. We are here for you. We are here to serve you, great people from a great BluGuitar community. And this brings together actually two topics that I wanted to bring together. So the great BluGuitar community and, you know, just having fun making music. This is what it is all about, right? I mean, most of you guys spend this evening once a month with me, and then you guys spend time with Thomas on his live stream mostly, right? And Thomas, you know, still is a professional musician. He's not just running an amp company, but he's on the road all the time. He's playing guitar all the time. He's amazing. So in the end, everything that we do is about like making music, right? It's about having fun and moments like I just had them, just getting lost in playing and just being somewhere else, right? Just being somewhere else with your brain, with your mind. This is what it's all about, making music, right? And then we have you guys as the amazing community. And these are two very, very important aspects of today's episode, because we have a very cool project planned out for you guys. And I will reveal it right now. Don't be worried, you don't need to go back to the stream to this part when you rewatch it if you want to have the information as well. But we will likely upload a separate video on YouTube and also on Instagram, and we'll keep you guys updated with the project. But I'll announce it right now. So we thought that it would be a very, very cool project to make a jam session with the community, with the BluGuitar community. So we want to put together a collaboration video where everyone who wants, right, Doesn't matter if you're young, if you're old, if you're playing the AMP1 Mercury, if you're playing the AMP1 Iridium, if you know what your style is, right? We want to make a very, very cool collaboration where you guys can be part of, right? So I've put together a backing track which is slightly on the heavier side, but don't be worried, right? Thomas played over it. You know that Thomas is not not a metal guitar player in his purest sense, so to say. Thomas is a kind of vintage guy. He has the strat chops down. We've talked about this, but you know, his soul is in the 70s and 60s and 80s with all these like great blues players, and he did a one take. I mean, it's Thomas Blug, so you would expect that he'll nail it. But you know, I just want to say that if you like more of the kind of stuff that Thomas is doing, the kind of playing and tones that Thomas is doing, right? Or if you like, you know, if you're more into like the modern metal tones and stuff that I do, it doesn't really matter, right? So the track is kept in A minor. So you could just play pentatonic stuff if you were a beginner, but if you were like, you know, a professional, you know, jazz, progressive, whatever kind of guitar player, right, you'll find some cool tweaks in there. There's a kind of a major tweak in there to arpeggiate and go along with. So it's a very cool project, and we want to release it somewhere around Christmas, right? So I'll show you what we did, Thomas and I, what we did. So same track, different players, very different solos you'll have there. I showed again to you. I played them. I played them in the beginning, but here we go to them again, and then I'll explain a little further about this project. So this is on the actual backing track that I am talking about. First my solo, and then Thomas's. Right, that was the track, and that was Thomas's version, my version of it. So just to be 100% transparent and fair, I finished with the backing track today. I had, you know, it occasionally happens that the preparation for these streams is super stressful. Don't want to hide it. I knew I was getting ready with everything once the stream starts, but I had problems with the electricity, and this is really out of my hands. So when there's a problem with the video stuff, with the sound, whatever, I can fix it. I know how to do it. I can talk to Thomas and get help from a team. But electricity was a huge issue at my place, right? I just bought this house, I built the studio, and you know, the issue is that we have some old electricity and some new electricity, and they got a hum and didn't get rid of it and stuff like this. So right now I'm running my rig on a isolation trafo transformer, the German guys Trenntrafo, right, and this is why I got rid of the hum, for the most of the hum as well, at least. Yeah, so it was super duper stressful. I just finished with the track today. I sent it to Thomas, right, and Thomas did a one take, and it was not his usual camera setup. He will explain that in the comments, right? So if you were asking yourself why the video doesn't look as good as it usually does, right, because it was a very spontaneous kind of project. I had the chance to write, like I finished the track yesterday in the night, and I took an hour to write the solo. Yeah, that's the story behind it. And you know, the track, it's a very cool track. I have it in my DAW as well. I'm playing over it in a second, but as I said, it's an A minor, and you can play pentatonics over it. And you know, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner. If you're a professional guitar player, it really doesn't matter. There's something in the track for everyone. It is on 200 BPM, but it's mostly in halftime, right? So you don't need to shred. You can keep it melodic, but you can shred if you want, right? So there was a lot of thought going into designing this track. So I have it in my DAW, and I play a little bit over it. I'm gonna make a, like, let's call this the beginner's take, right? So I'm just let me get back to some metal settings, because I did stuff to it for my Hendrix impersonation. Yeah, this sounds more like I want things to sound. And then we get the boost as well. Right, cool. So here we're back on a proper metal lead. Sounds cool. Right, so this is the backing track, and I'm gonna just play, you know, like A minor pentatonic first position kind of licks over it. And you will hear that it will work. So the track's quite loud, isn't it? So I'll do another take in a second. But this was just very, very, very simple pentatonic, you know, kind of stuff mostly. And it didn't sound horrible, right? So I didn't go along with the chords, didn't arpeggiate anything. It was just playing, you know, just randomly, turning the brain off and doing some pentatonic licks. And I think it works quite good. Let's get back to the chorus again. Right, so we were talking about tones here. You know, same kind of vibe, simple pentatonic stuff, but with the chorus again. So see how that sounds. Right, put on the paddle, and it will sound good, right? So it's a very joyful track to play on. Can also get crazy and do all the shred stuff, but we've seen that in the beginning, right? My take on it and Thomas's take on it. So I guess we don't need any more on this. Just wanted to show you guys, you know, it's perfectly fine. Like it's not sports that we're doing here. It's not a race. I like to shred and do all the fast stuff, but I'm doing it because I'm enjoying it. And I've been practicing guitar for so long, right? But you know, it doesn't matter how good you feel on guitar, right? You know, it's a community project. We want to do it together with you. You guys are so great, and just, you know, at Guitar Summit we'll also get a clip from Guitar Summit back. I was getting to know so many of you, and we've talked about the stream, and I got so much appreciation. It's you know, I'm getting emotional here, but I'm so thankful to be part of this great community, to be doing this, to be working with Thomas and the team, you know, to be working with Julian, Valeska. We had Mario on the booth as well. We had Andreas, to get to know all the guys in person, and talking to you, and you know, it's such a cool thing, and this is the spirit that we want to capture in this project. All right, I'll put a link to the backing track in the comment section right now. But again, keep checking our Instagram, keep checking YouTube. You will have some separate content on this. You don't need to get back to the stream if you don't want to. All right. So I'm giving you the second part of the interview that we did. about the Rockboard. And whilst that's playing, you'll get the link from the link to the backing track in a second. So see you in like 15-20 minutes or so. One of the main reasons I went back to analog amps is not it's mainly the feeling when you're playing them.
Yeah.
And this is something it's hard to describe, but I feel like mostly technology isn't at a place where, you know, amp profiles would make you feel comfortable when they're used in a different scenario to what the profile has been produced in. It's a very weird sentence. Let me try to explain that. So I feel that, you know, once I start rolling off the volume knob, any profiler is doing weird things to the sound that don't really feel natural. Once I start picking differently or playing on a different region on the fretboard, playing different strings, whatever, other to what has been done while it was profiled, you know, it's doing weird things. And an amp isn't doing this kind of thing. So I can roll back the volume knob if I don't have a noise gate on. And you know, it would react dynamically to my playing. And maybe this is the thing of becoming older and playing different now than I used to play 10 years ago. But there's something I very much value, and this is something I can only get out of analog amps. I mean, not only analog amps, but I really love using analog pedals nowadays as well. And this is a good opportunity to explain to you what's going on the left side of my board, because I have two amps here. I have one Iridium Amp1 Mercury, and I'm going into the Rockboard tuner. And the Rockboard tuner, which is a great feature. You know, I was trying out this device here before. So this is a Lely P-Split. Don't know if you know it.
Yeah, German company, Lely. Yeah.
And I was trying to, you know, split my signal into two, and then put one into the Amp1 Iridium, one into the Amp1 Mercury. Didn't work because one is an isolated signal. It didn't work with the amp. So it's great to record DIs, but didn't sound with the amp. Anyway, I didn't need to, because the Rockboard tuner has a muted output and then just a through, right? So it's not only working as a tuner, but it's also working as a splitter. So right side, Amp1 Iridium, and just the jumper to signature pedal, because I wanted to show, you know, how things sound in the effects loop, and then the rest coming from the amp. And now as we're looking to the left side, I have my wah-wah here, my old, you know, just the classic Crybaby wah-wah, which is going into the jam tube drive and then into the rumble seat by Analog Alien. And then this is going... Yeah, this is going into the clean channel of the Mercury. So let me switch here on my computer.
The rumble seat was another company who I once upon a time worked for, and I'm still very, very good friends with them. They're a small company over in New York, run by a couple of guys, Jack and Joe, and their brothers, and they have a recording studio. And they were sick and tired of people bringing in pedals that didn't sound good, so they decided to make their own. And the artists was like, I mean, they work with people like Joan Jett and like Stevie Wonder's got a rumble seat and so on and so forth. Like the Who are touring with these. They are big in terms of artists. And they people were saying to him, "You have to sell these." They are so good.
And you'll hear why. So this is the clean channel of my Amp1 Mercury. Clean, it's just a straight clean sound, right? Didn't do anything to it. Now, here comes the rumble seat. And holy cow. This is just such a rock and roll sound. I mean, it feels, I don't know what to say. It just feels so great to play. It's like you want to play guitar if you hear that. There are sounds that just make you play guitar. This is one of them.
It's kind of like somewhere between a Marshall and an Orange, that sound, and it's beautiful. It really is really, really great. I really like the amount of tonality in the lower strings when you're like dung 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 dung. You just like play some palm muted lower strings. Yeah. there's so much information there that is often lost on a pedal.
Yeah, I really like, it sounds really balanced. So there's quite a healthy amount of bass in there, but it doesn't mud up because the bass, it's going in and out. It's not staying there for long, you know what I mean? So it feels very, very tight. And this is just the pedal go in front of the amp, just the pedal. It's just the drive activated. It does have delay and reverb as well, so I can show you how these sound. Right. So I mean, again, one device, and it has 3 different kinds of effects. I mainly use the rumble drive. I really like the delay as well. I love analog delays, way more than I like digital delays. So it's a perfect pedal for me.
I find there's a place for both. I mean, it depends on what you're doing. But what I like to do sometimes is to run a digital delay on one amp and an analog delay on the other, and sometimes syncopate them.
This is stuff that you do because you're into pedal boards and pedals, and I am as well. But this is like, again, if I need to play any gig with this board, I would have everything here that I need. I could make a stereo sound. I have 2 different kinds of IR loaders. I have delay, reverb, drive in one pedal, and like this is very functional for going on the road. So before the rumble seat, we're going in reversed order. We have the jam tube drive. You'll hear some noise once activated because it's in the plus mode, which is, what is it? It is
I can't remember.
Some kind of clipping. Some kind of different clipping. What was it called?
Asymmetrical and symmetrical.
Asymmetrical clipping, exactly.
Okay, because it's basically a tube screamer, isn't it? Yeah. So asymmetrical is like an SD one, and symmetrical is like a tube screamer. Other than that, the circuits are much the same. In fact, my SD one I have has the tube screamer chip in it.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's so old.
So this adds quite some gain. You'll hear it just by activating it. So right now, no noise. Once I activate it, all the noise. But this is, to be honest, AMP1 Mercury, rumble seat, jam tube dreamer. This is the sound I play every day. This is for years, since I've got these pedals and the amp, which was around the same time, like 2021 or something.
Yeah.
This is my setup, and I've never changed it. This is my go-to sound, and here are.
I remember quite clearly when you started playing them.
Yeah. So let me show you how it sounds. And here we are live again. So in case you missed the beginning, that was my interview with Lee Atkin from Rockboards. And I'm actually having a Rockboard set up right here with my beloved AMP1. So we're going back to the side cam for a second, and I show you what I did here. I mean, you see it right now in the interview, but let's go through it again. So as I've mentioned before, right? Rockboard tuner has a muted output, so in case and a through. So this allows me to also use it as a kind of splitter if I wanted it to. So I'm going into this device, into the tuner, and then the muted output is going into my wah-wah, which is then going into this blue pedal, Jam Tube Drive, Jam Tube Dreamer, sorry, which is going to the rumble seat, and then into the AMP1, which is right now in clean and on the clean channel. So right now nothing else is happening. It's just the clean channel of the amplifier with its own reverb, right? So it's right. So just, you know, standard clean sound. Shouldn't do this, sorry. It just felt like, all right. So I'm super excited about what is about to come now, because this is my favorite tone in the world right now, I guess. I'm going into the Mod 5 by Rockboards. So that's what we have talked about a second ago. And I want to show you this device very quick on my computer. Sorry, let me show it to you. Okay. Here we go with some screen sharing. Here we are. So we're on the website of Rockboard, because it's easier to show it to you here than, you know, taking the second camera and putting it behind the board. But you've seen the slots, the mod slots in the Pedalboard, right? And those are designed to actually take their own mods. So this is the Mod 5 caps in plus DI patch. So we've talked about the Mod 4 in the beginning, right, which has some powering options, USB power out, but the main feature is that it has a wireless system integrated into it. So you don't need to bring your own wireless system or whatever. We've talked about that in the interview before. Now this is on the left side. So this is the Mod 5, and it is also a patch bay, but the thing I absolutely love about this is that it has an integrated IR loader. And this is now a little more nerdy than the Blue Box, because, you know, as I said, the Blue Box fine-tuned impulse responses by Thomas, which are trustworthy and work every time you need them. But, you know, as I said before, you may also want to bring your own impulse responses, which is not possible with the Blue Box. It will be possible with the AMP-X though, but that's a different story. Not going to get into AMP-X tonight. So in case you want to bring your own impulse responses, and I'm someone, if I could, I want to bring my own impulse responses because I put much time into fine-tuning them. This is a very, very cool device. It's not expensive. Usually IR loaders, you know, do cost quite some money. And this is, what was it? It's certainly beyond. It's below $200. Yeah, right. It's $160. Likely same in euros, right? So I know that a lot of people are watching from Europe. So it's 130 euros. Very, very inexpensive, if you ask me. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and off. So it means you have 6 slots for your custom impulse responses. And this is a very, very cool feature. And again, you know, kind of DI box-ish vibes here. You got a balanced output and you have the ground lift as well. So if you're in a venue, or if you're at my home where you have electricity issues, right, this will help you to clean up the signal slightly. So very well thought device. Again, patch bay does the same thing as on the Mod 4, right? It's a patch bay, so it helps you with routing on your Pedalboard. Yeah, this is how it looks. Yeah, and right, this is very similar to what I am running as well. This is the Tress 3.1, so it's a slightly smaller pedalboard than what you've seen on my setup here. But yeah, this is how it looks. So you could put your AMP1 kind of here, right? Here's that's where it is on my board, and then I'm connecting it to I'm connecting the send of the FX loop with the back of the Mod 5, and you know, through the XLR out, I'm going into my interface. And this will work the same way if you would do it live, right? You would just, instead of going to your interface, you would go into the soundboard and mixing board of the venue. So this is, I can't tell you how happy I am that products like this exist, right? Because I don't need to bring something that would eat up space on my board, or that I need to put in my rack. You just put it into your board, which you'll bring with you anyway, and there it is, and there it does its job. So that's how it looks, that's how it works, but I guess that you guys want to see how it sounds as well. And this is now where I'm getting properly excited, because I was just showing the clean tone to you, and we will now do some cool stuff to the clean tone. So I am now going on to, I'm now activating the rumble seats drive mode, and this is how it sounds, and I'm in love with this pedal. So this is kind of a low gain sound, to be honest, right? Low to maybe medium gain, depending on what your approach to gain is. But in my opinion, this is kind of a low gain sound, really. But as I explained before, I really like how it sounds. It's kind of a Marshall in the box pedal. It doesn't have the bite that some of the Marshall amplifiers have, that I don't really like. But it's sounding a little smoother. It has a healthy amount of bass, which is not muddying up things, because it's kind of highly compressed bass. At least that's how it sounds to me. It's going in, it's going out, it's not staying there, which is something that usually bass does on some devices, and this is something I don't like. So it keeps things to be tight, right? It sounds really juicy, really fat. I'm so much in love with this pedal. And then the second thing I do to the sound now is getting the jam tube dreamer into the equation. So it's set up in typical metal setting. So level is all up, right? It's imagined to be like a tube scale. Level is all up. Tone is somewhere in the middle, because I don't want to have it too bitey. And then I'm adding just a little gain to it. It's an A-set reticle mode. This is how it sounds with AMP1 Mercury rumble seat. And let's get the tube dreamer into it. Sorry, let me turn that off. It's a pedal, right? So noise gate is not working on the clean channel, not as in the same way it's working on the gain channels. But it does create some noise. And this is the tones that I work with every day. So when I'm practicing, I'm mostly using this. Low gain tone, so it's really unforgiving when you're practicing like technique and stuff, and then when I want to practice or play with high gain, this is when the tube dreamer comes into it. This is not exactly a super tight metal tone. I could play some rhythm guitars with it. So kind of more classical metal riffs work with it, but when I'm getting to like newer and tighter stuff, It's almost too fat, but this is for just playing leads. I really love how it sounds. So let me give you another round of leads, and the rumble seat also has reverb and delay, so we'll use that. right? So I love this sound. It feels, it has a little bit of everything that I like. You know, I'm not only into metal when it comes to lead guitar playing. You know, I'm inspired by guys like Guthrie, by like Alex Hutchings, you know, by these kind of players, and they have high gain sounds, but mostly not kind of these, you know, mid scoop metal sounds. So this is a little bit of everything, you know, a little bit of my metal kind of sounds that I like, a little bit more of the, you know, other styled guitar players that I like that also play high gains. So I really love this. All right, now we'll do another thing with the pedalboard in a couple of minutes, but before we go on with this, I want to show you a video of the Guitar Summit, because, you know, this was an amazing event which we've attended with the BluGuitar team last month, and I did a couple of workshops for BluGuitar, for Clubman Electrics, did a lot of video stuff for BluGuitar, so it was very intense, long working days, and I got sick, I had COVID, and, you know, but it was such a great event, don't want to miss it. And one of the workshops which I did for Clubman Electrics, my pickup brand of choice that I also endorse and I also work for, I did a workshop for Clubman, and you know, Thomas was around as well because they share a booth and they're good friends. So we thought that would be cool to get Thomas to the stage and to just jam a little bit. So it was 100% spontaneous. Nothing of it was planned. So please forgive us if we. You know, if we sometimes lose track of each other. Also, you know, the headphones we had was kind of hard to work with those. They were bass heavy and everything, and you know, I wasn't hearing myself too good. I bet Thomas also didn't. But anyway, we did the jam spontaneously, and it was kind of cool, right? So I thought that, you know, I would share it with you and show it to you. So here we go, some unplanned jam at Guitar Summit 2025. Thomas Blug and Emanuel Knorr. Sorry guys, technical difficulties. All right, here we go. See you in a second.
spielen, kann euch ein bisschen was dazu erzählen. Zwischen diesen Kreaturen habe ich mich also bewegt die letzten 40 Jahre und musste dann irgendwann auch verstehen, die Nomenklatur. Ich möchte hier ein bisschen mehr Gzz und da ein bisschen mehr Hö. Spielt einfach weiter. Dann habe ich mir das immer angehört, was sie spielen, habe versucht, das zu verstehen. Und irgendwie habe ich es geschafft, weil ich ja auch viel live gespielt habe, diese merkwürdigen Beschreibungen in Pickups zu verwandeln. Und alle haben ein Lächeln auf dem Gesicht. Ist das herrlich? Emanuel Knorr.
All right, that was a very cool time we had there, just plugging in guitars and jamming. And, someone was writing a very cool comment. Jam sessions are best kind of training to learn to listen to the other musicians. Well, that's actually true. So I wanna emphasize what was said there, and I have two spots in the jam. So maybe after the stream you can go in there and rewatch. So as I said, we didn't have the best sound, and I'm the in-ear kind of guy, right? When I'm playing on stage, I'm playing with in-ear, and I can hear myself quite good all the time. Thomas is completely different there. He's playing with cabs live, and he's used to play venues where maybe you're not hearing yourself that good because you don't have in-ear, and you know, we have triggered drums and only the cymbals are real mostly, and Thomas is playing with acoustic drums in his band, so there's a lot of differences, right? You know, Thomas also wrote a comment. He was adapting to the shred part, which was super cool, right? I'm always surprised when he pulls out these fast picking licks and stuff. So I'm like, you know, Daddy can keep up with the stuff. it's very cool to see that. So two things that happened there. So I think also Thomas realized that I didn't hear myself because we were seeing it in my face, right? I was making weird expressions and stuff. So what Thomas did then, he was rolling back the gain, and instead of, you know, like more like a you know, again, so you know, I was able to hear myself a bit better, right? That was a very cool move. Nothing of it was planned, but it really helped me to get more into the jam once we started, right? So that was first thing. Things like this, you know, just are fun and just amazing moments, right? And then the second thing, right, when we were grooving into the jam and stuff happened, you know, we had this more calm part where Thomas was like, you know, making like the chords up and stuff like this, right? I was there, you know, jamming very much non-rock and roll kind of stuff. So I was like trying to go a little bit more in the chords and stuff, like the shred stuff. You know, I was playing more arpeggio stuff. You know, going from 3-note per string more to caged bass playing. So that was another cool moment. He really got me out of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed it. Was the part where Andreas was also talking about the pickups a little bit. So really cool moment. And then the last thing, you know, that was the final, because we were a couple of minutes in the jam. Everyone was feeling comfortable. And you know, when then we started doing played this kind of riff again, and I was doing the third and Thomas did the fifth. Thing going on there spontaneously, and these are just so cool moments, you know, that I'm just smiling when I see them. Yeah, so that was a fun jam, and as I said, in the end, it's all about making music. And this is a very cool transition to the next part of the stream. So we are slowly but surely approaching the end, but there are three more things I want to show you tonight. So the first thing is I'm establishing a new new sub-series of chapters for these live streams. So I want to do a thing which is called the lick of the month, or the shred lick of the month, right? Where I'm showing you another cool shred style lick every month when I do the stream. And don't be worried, again, we will repost a video with just this part. So if you're into this kind of stuff, don't need to get back to the stream, but there will be a video of this coming soon. And we'll start the series off with a very, very cool lick. So I pick a lot, but legato is my main technique. I really love playing legato, like high repeat legato lines, you know, this kind of... Right, so this is really the sound I love on the guitar. I also love picking, but if I had to pick one legato or picking, I would go with legato. You know, this is just so cool, like the muted stuff. Right, so I could do this all day, and I practice this a lot and stuff. So you know, if you're a beginner, it may sound to you like I was picking quite some notes, but I'm not, right? I'm mostly picking when I do string changes and I do picks and plucks. So I'm using my middle finger, right, to do some of the changes. So it has a kind of a smooth sound, which I just love. Picking is cool as well. I love picking, and I love picking a lot. It's not that, you know, I legato is the only thing that I like, and I do picking just because I have to impress people. I love how picking sounds. Sometimes I'm having more picking weeks, but mostly I'm having more legato weeks. So if I had to pick one, legato would be slightly above that. Anyway, legato is a cool technique to combine with tapping, right? So a lot of people do that. Legato is basically hammer-ons and pull-offs, and that's the same thing that you would do with tapping. So tapping, think of tapping as an extension to your left hand, right? So if the interval is too big, this is what Van Halen did, right? So how would you play, these three notes, like fifth fret, 8th fret, and 12th fret? How would you play them with one hand? Stretch and very difficult to do, and nothing that I'd be too confident about. Just go for licks like this, which is essentially the same thing in terms of techniques. It's pull off a hammer-on and the same notes, but it's performed with like two. It's performed like two hands. So your right hand becomes an extension of your left hand, and that's a cool technique that I like to throw in a lot of licks, right? So you can do it with arpeggios, or we like to things like that are very cool, or just pentatonic style. More classical stuff, you can do some. So tapping, legato, it's a perfect fit, and it's really a cool technique, and just belongs together. Now, I mentioned before that I do like Guthrie Govan a lot. Perhaps like he and John Petrucci kind of share, the throne of my favorite guitar players. And Guthrie is playing a lot of legato as well, and he's also incorporating some very cool tapping techniques. And the thing that he does a lot is using more than one finger for tapping. So usually, people use their middle finger or their first finger. So back in the 80s, a lot of more people were using their first finger. I never. Uncomfortable for me because I never practiced it. I was doing it with my middle finger from the beginning on because I want to incorporate in other techniques, like the thing I just did with like arpeggios, right? So if I my first finger, my index finger is busy. He has to hold a pick, and I can't just put the pick somewhere. So I started doing tapping with my middle finger. And that's what I stick to. But here's a cool thing. So I can also take my ring finger, because also that one's not busy to hold anything like the pick, right? And the ring finger is a thick finger, it's a strong finger. It's not like the pinky, which many people have problems with using. I don't use the right hand's pinky on guitar at all, right? So I like using it with the left hand. I had issues with it when I was younger, and I really had to re-strengthen my pinky when I was already quite a good guitar player, to be honest. But on the right hand, it doesn't work. Ring finger works cool. It's not the most intuitive finger when it comes to tapping, but it works very, very cool. And a technique that I like to do is ring finger to do tapping. Kind of weird with the E string just here, but just wanted to demonstrate, right? So I'm using both of these fingers, and I do a lot of these kind of licks where I do multi-finger tapping. And one lick that I'm coming back to all the time is this kind of 3-octave string skipping kind of lick. So when it's played slow, well, let's do it fast. Right, there's a lick. Right? It sounds so cool, it sounds so flashy. So what's happening there is I'm playing 3 hammer-ons from nowhere with my left hand. So I'm not picking it, but I'm just doing them. I need a fret wrap to wrap by my frets. That would be a little goes a little silent. Actually, I have one here. Just let me check for a second. Here we go. That's the best friend of every studio guitar player who's doing tapping, legato kinds of things. So I put this around my neck. This is not cheating. Guthrie is doing it as well. So this is still okay. Didn't use it in quite some time, so don't know if it still works. Yeah, this should do. So I'm having this fret wrap here, so it mutes the string. Right? And I don't care about muting too much when I'm playing Gato. It's way cleaner then. Right, so what's happening here? So this is kind of based around the key of E minor, G major, or modal stuff if you want, but kind of the main it's the notes from E minor and G major. So I'm playing with the first finger I'm playing the 15th fret, with the middle finger I'm playing the 17th fret, and with the pinky I'm playing the 19th fret of the E string. Just harmonics from nowhere. And then the tapping comes into place. So with the middle finger I'm tapping the 20th fret of my guitar, of my E string, and then with the ring finger I'm tapping the 22nd fret with my middle finger, and then it's the 24th fret with the ring finger. So it's slow. With the timing there, it's quite hard to nail the timing on legato, because you can just maybe forget about a note or make it less audible than other ones, but you have to play 5. I also don't do it well. So this is a lick where you really have to focus. Now this is the hammer-on part, and then we do the same thing but in pull-off. So we're going 24th fret, 22nd fret, 19, 17, 15 with This is a very cool lick. Just this, right? You can play this. Now we do the exact same frets, the exact same thing on the B string as well. So the only difference is, I'd like to start with hammer-ons from nowhere on the B string, but starting with the pink key, right? So that it's kind of it's not so easy to switch strings with the same finger. So we use on the E string the first finger. So switching now to there's an interruption that we can't avoid because we're switching with the same finger. Other than doing a bar, but this wouldn't work with hammer-ons from nowhere. So that's why we're switching with the pink key. So we're going 19 first. 17. Hammer-on from nowhere, 9. 15. And once we've reached the first finger, it goes the same thing. So it's really something that you need to spend time on. If you don't want to do it with with 2-finger tapping, you can make an just tapping one off the fret. Also sounds cool, but this. And then we just play it down the octave. So second octave. So it's 16, 14, and 12. And then when it comes to tapping, it's 17 and 19 on the G string. Again, same frets on the D string as well as we did on the G string. The last octave is here. Starting on the A string, 14, 12, 10. 15 and 17 on the A string. On the E string as well. So I think I was giving you the wrong frets for the G string. It was actually like 12, 14, and 16 with the left hand. That's all right, but the right hand is doing 19 and 21. 21. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see up there on these frets. So then we have the same kind of thing in 3 octaves. Really cool lick if you put it. And once you get it up to speed, it sounds really cool. Okay, let me play the whole thing slow. And that is what the lick of the month for October 2025 is. As I said, there will be a shorter video where we get through the lick, and you don't need to rewatch this if you don't want. Well, feel free to rewatch the stream as much as you like, but just to have this in mind. All right, lick of the month covered. We're going to the last part of the interview with Lee from Rockboard. So I'll see you in a bit. The Iridium was going to the blue box. The blue box, I've done it before, right? It has a couple of hand-selected impulse responses by Thomas. It's a device where you can't really, it doesn't have any displays, any software, whatever. It's a straight-on device. You can't go anything, like you can't go wrong about this. And if you happen to like some of the impulse responses that are on there, it's a great device. But you can't change them. And I am someone who is all about messing around with impulse responses in cabinets, because I think a cabinet is extremely important.
You're quite particular, aren't you? Quite particular in the cabs that you like. What do you normally go for? V30s?
Oversized V30 4x12. My go-to kind of cabinet. And that is what I have on my Mod 5. So this is where we get back to a Rockboard thing here. The Mod 5, again, has a patch bay, but its actual special feature is the integrated impulse response loader, and this is a game changer really. So I don't need to have a wireless system on my board. I don't need to have an IR loader. It's all in the board, and that is what turns me on, because it's basically I can put all my custom IRs there and don't need to worry about anything. So what I was playing right now, this is EVH 4x12 cabinet that you're hearing right now. Let me get back to the internal gain. So, and I change it. Oh no, sorry. This is what we are hearing right now was a diesel cabinet. This is diesel 4x12 cabinet. Now we're going to an EVH 4x12. Completely different sound. And then I have kind of a custom setup with some Zilla cabs that I created in a GetGood plugin. So these are my Zilla cabs. Right, so
I really should have introduced you to Zilla at the show, because I'm good friends with them. That's a Zilla cab back there.
Yeah, making amazing cabinets here. So yeah, and it's I just need to switch a knob on my pedalboard, and then I'm having a different cab. How cool is that?
So good. It is so handy.
So good, yeah.
There is a trick to running stereo out of that as well.
I see it. You can run it in stereo mode, right? Didn't try that. Didn't set my DAW up particularly for this, but I bet it's cool. But what I can do is this is a very cool thing now. So M1 Mercury Mod 5 impulse responses, my custom impulse responses, and then on the right side AMP1 Iridium with the blue box. I can now unmute both tracks and do one left and right, and then we have an AMP1 stereo rig. yeah, 2 different amps, 2 different input responses, both on one board. How cool is that? How cool is that?
That's pretty awesome. Well, I would say thank you very, very much for showcasing that. It's been really nice to hang out with you again, man.
Yeah, man, and let's not wait five more years this time.
I don't think it's been quite that long, but it feels like it.
Yeah, it really feels like quite a long time. All right, Lee, thanks for joining us today, explaining us all sorts of things about Rockboard, and yeah, hope to see you soon.
Yeah, there's loads more. Don't forget to check out the board configurator and the artist page as well, because on the artist page you will find Emanuel, and you'll be able to find his board, and you'll be able to go in there and maybe copy it and make your own version.
Hopefully you do. Yeah, I can recommend it. Quite funny. All right, thanks, Lee. See you soon. Have a nice one. Bye.
See you soon, mate. Bye
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a dream coming true, because what I just did was something I really want to show to you quickly, because you know what it is, right? So, same board I've shown you around here quite a lot during this evening, and what we hear right now is the AMP1 Iridium going into the blue box on the right side. On the left side we have the AMP1 Mercury going into the Mod 5 of Rockboard, and there is one of my custom IRs on there. And this is such a massive sound. AMP1 left, AMP1 right, 2 different sounds. So it has a little bit, you know, this kind of what you call it? I do it all the time. Forgot the word. Well, just, you know, stacking up one amp with another amp sound, right, to just have a slightly different tone in there, and amp blending, right? We're blending different amps. That's what I was going for, and it's such a great tone. Really love it. Let me custom IR. Let's go to the Zilla Cat, which is just on the stream, on the interview. Go back to the diesel cap. We have the stack 1980. Let's go to the stack 1971 for the Iridium. mean, I could play this stuff all night long. You know, when you're blending two amps, right, you should maybe adjust like the eyes and stuff a little bit. So it's two very different sounding setups right here, but just having these amps run in stereo is, you know, like two different but equally great worlds colliding, and it's so much fun to play. And that was the final boss for today's episode. So we've seen a lot of pedals, we've seen the amazing Rockboard, we've talked a lot about routing and effects and stuff. So it was quite a cool episode. I think very much enjoyed it, to prepare all the stuff, and yeah, I'm so happy, right? I'm so happy that we did this. Again, guys, thanks to Lee Atkin and to Rockboard for being part of this episode. We're not paid by them or anything, right? So you know, as I said before, Thomas knows so many people in the industry, and we just like to have different people on the show. Maybe artists, maybe different companies, right? We're always showing different amps and stuff. So we're all together in this great music industry. And yeah, it's especially joyful to show products that support what we do, right? So a great pedalboard will help you to bring your AMP1 out there. And a pedalboard with one of the features like this, having a wireless system in there, having the patch bass, having powering in there, and also the IR loader, which is my favorite, right? Just helps me to even like to work, like to just optimize my workflow with the AMP1, you know, also playing live. So this is like I'm getting my pedalboard out and I'm connecting it, my guitar, then it goes to the mixing desk, and this is all I need. I don't need to bring anything else, and this is such a great thing for me. And I hope that you may be just as inspired as I am by, you know, the gear nerdery that we did today. So I mean, it goes without saying, you know, please check out BluGuitar products, especially your AMP1 Iridium if you're into metal. If you're into anything else, you know, the AMP1 Mercury may be the way to go. Still, the AMP1 Iridium can do non-metal stuff, as I was showing you before, doing a little Hendrix stuff here, and the AMP1 Mercury can do metal, you know, quite differently, not as tight, but with a thick sounding tone to it. That is great as well. We have lots of cool other products like the Blue Box, which is the impulse response cabinet emulation device that I've shown you, and yeah, all sorts of cool stuff. So go to the webpage, please check it out. Keep waiting for AmpX. I'm not the one to tell you about this, but Thomas will certainly do so soon. If you have any kinds of questions, you know, we are here once a week. I'm here every month, and you know, Thomas is here all the other weeks. So come to the stream, leave some comments, chat with us. We are here to, you know, have a great time with the community, and yeah, having a great time with the community. Let me also mention again the great project that we have to get all of the community in there. If you missed this out, right, keep watching on our socials and on YouTube, because we'll upload some content on this. We are making a huge compilation, jam compilation. So there's a backing track. I've posted the link in the chat, but I'll do so again right now in this very moment. You'll find the link again to the backing track. Download the backing track. Use your AMP1 device whilst jamming on it or writing a solo on it. Record it. Send video and audio to us. And we will push it out someone around Christmas, and you know, send an email to us, right? I should also provide you with the right email to do so. So, just a second. Here we go. The email you need to send the stuff if you want to participate in the project is marketing@bluguitar.com. It's in the chat as well. We'll find it in, you know, once the video is online. You'll find it in there as well. Don't be worried about it. And yeah, I think that's everything I have to say for today. So thanks everyone for tuning in. It was so much fun to do this. And I'll leave you guys go to bed or to work or to whatever you want to do right now, with one last video. It's an older video, but I really like it. So it was yeah, about the AMP1 Iridium in a symphonic metal, you know, heavily arranged epic kind of scenario. I did this for another episode, and I think it's very cool asset to end off tonight's stream. Thanks everyone, much love goes out to you. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be back next month. Thomas will be here next week to take care of you. And yeah, take care guys. Thanks for tuning in, and see you very, very, very soon.